Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravata, and we're here for a very special edition of the Real 50 Over 50. Um, Today, we have Diana Dunbar Place, and she is our 150th woman that has joined this community. Woohoo! So, I'm going to do a quick intro, then I'm going to say a couple of words just because, I have to. It's 150. We're actually up to 157. But I
Congratulations, by the way. Before you do anything, I don't want to take over, but I just have to say you blow my
take
mind.
over.
You blow my mind that you really are so passionately trying to give us, a voice and shine a light on what women are doing at all ages.
Yeah, at all ages. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, let me introduce you real quick, and
Okay.
then we are just going to get in and chat because we are in the same place, and are of the same brain on so many layers,
Mm,
and the same
mm,
heart. So,
mm.
without further ado, Diana Dunbar Place is the founder and of the Third Act Quest and the 333 Collective. She is a speaker, a coach, a host of the Third Act Stories and 333's Biennial Quest Gathering, which is going to be coming up in April in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read the quote that she has on her website because, she's just worded it so beautifully. I don't want to paraphrase. After years of dancing on the edges of my passions through a roller coaster life and career, it was the coincidence of four lightning strike experiences: a cancer diagnosis, loss of a business, my 60th birthday, and a soon to be empty nest that compelled me to dig deep to focus on what I truly wanted to do with my one wild and precious life. And this became her third act quest, which launched this incredible community of women that are doing all kinds of things in all different stages of their life and their business. And her mission has become to inspire women and reframe the perception and experience of what life could be after 50. And I am in like total alignment with our third act can be the most exciting chapter in our life story. And one of the things that Diana had on her website was creating third act quests to inspire and connect women over 50 is the most exciting and rewarding venture that I've done so far. And I am in 100% agreement. We're about 2.5 years into this little wisdom experiment that I started, and I concur with everything that you're saying. It is absolutely the most rewarding thing I've done in 19 years in business and countless years before that. The stories, the connections, the realm of wisdom, experience, and possibilities. It is truly endless. And every morning I wake up and I think, what's going to happen today? And I've been doing that since I was a little kid. But now I know whatever happens today happens as a result of like these overlapping circles of connection that is happening from these various groups of women over 50. So it's not all just women in my community, but there's your community and there's Jack Perez's community. And, there are all of these different communities that are colliding together in this like beautiful universe of wisdom. I don't know how else to put it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's enriched my life, my business. I get excited whenever I get a little ding on LinkedIn because somebody's connecting me to somebody else. And it has just created such a beautiful synergy.
It's interesting too. I think many of us reflect on a difference in how we can be as women. I like to say, I believe that this is our time. And a lot of people think that it's time to creep back in and step out and feel like it's too late or I'm not enough or, but the number of women I meet like you, it turns me on so much to see energy, curiosity, and this sort of craving for finding other women like them.
Yeah,
And, I not to say they're all different types of personalities, but the kinds of women who want to dig in and figure out not only who they are and what they want to do in the world, how they want to do it, who they want to do it with, is how can I make an impact in the world?
Yeah.
How can I actually use those years, not just of wisdom, but all the things I've learned and know
Yeah.
how to do? And you were that in spades. And like, how can I help other
Yeah.
women, other people of all ages? How can I help, especially with the backdrop of what's going on in the world right now? It's just confusing and uncertain for so many of us.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm just really, we are definitely in alignment, my
yeah,
dear.
I mean, that's my, question with everything that I do. I mean, it's my barometer. Am I making a difference or am I wasting my time? If I'm wasting my time, I'm not doing it. If it's making a difference, I don't even need to know how it's making a difference. If it is, I'm doing it. And then
You
Anastasia's
never know.
popping in too. Apparently, she would like to get to know you. So please connect.
Who's this?
Anastasia
Oh my
Lipsky.
god, I love her. You need to know Anastasia. I met her
Oh,
years ago.
oh, I do know her.
She's
Yeah,
made a big, bold move lately.
yeah.
So
I know her. It seemed from her message that she wanted to meet you, that, like, she didn't know you, but I'm glad you already know each other.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and you're both part of this community, and we're both part of your community, so look at everything going around in circles. You see
I
what I
love
mean?
it. Well, check out this necklace. I mean, okay, I'm a believer in symbolic or sometimes magical messages. This is a necklace. Well, this is the version 2 of it because I lost it, God forbid. I bought it over 25 years ago and have worn it. I call it my uniform. I've worn it almost every day.
Yeah,
And when I look at it every day, I put it on. It's that interconnectedness, we are all connected thing that's
yeah,
part of my heart that makes me like you say, every day. I don't know who I'm talking to on the phone. I don't know exactly what
mhm,
I'm going to be doing, but I know it's going to be energizing to meet
yeah,
and hear the stories of women doing really inventive, heart-driven things at this stage of life when it's not so easy to. I mean, there's so many challenges. We have to admit there are pardon me, a
go
lot of
ahead.
challenges. And, whether it's navigating the role as a caregiver for our parents or recognizing that some of our friends, our lifelong friends, don't really want to talk about the kind of things we want to talk about at this stage,
No,
or even worse, we're isolated by some feelings of, those old horrible stories that start, getting louder in our ears. Like, you are getting too old. You could never do that. You're always late. You're always this, so it's like that's where it gets exciting that we can and we need each other. So in the corporate
we
world, we used to compete, or women that I worked with, oh my God, there's so much competition. Now it's like, how can we raise each other up? How can we be like linked in arms and say, okay, girl, I have your back. I
yeah,
really want you to succeed, and not have
yeah.
FOMO or jealousy that may have been part of
No.
your personality,
And
you know?
when I do these interviews, my favorite ones are the ones where it's somebody that does the exact same thing that I do. I interviewed, this woman, Liz Johnson, earlier this week, who has a marketing business for 45 years, and I've been doing this in one form or another for 40 years, and, like, when we were sitting there talking, I was like, "This is gonna be a master class because between us,
Oh,
we have
I love
85 years of experience."
wow. And we wanna share it,
Yeah.
you'll know your allies at this stage too. You can know it from a mile away. I've had collaborators who are doing almost the same thing in a different way, and I say, "Okay, I'll help you, you help me. We'll figure out a
Exactly.
way." We don't there are gas stations on every corner, there are multiple restaurants in every town, like, people pick, that which resonates, so I don't care if you're competing with me or
No,
technically.
I don't believe I've never believed in it, and I always felt like, just as women, there's so much that we have to battle just because the way the world is structured. Like, why do we have to fight each other? Like, what is possible if we help each other?
I think so much about that. Part of the thing that, I've done on my own, and I encourage other women that are part of 333 or a part of my, cohort, I have a cohort called Quest Year, um, is to really dig in to try to understand, I hate this in a way, not authentic self, but who
Yeah.
we really are. Who is under there? Who is that woman, or who was that little 5-year-old girl, before the titles, before the roles, before the, intrusion
Yeah,
and
I like that
and the
intrusion.
box that gets built around us by either our
I mean
parents or our school or, well,
it
who is she? She's
I
there,
mean,
you know?
before there was an army telling us what we should do, who we
Yeah,
should be, and
yeah,
how we should show up.
yeah. But, if you think about it, little girls, you know, I just have just so many great memories of sitting in the grass and, this sounds really weird, but like digging holes and putting dog poop in it to catch the boys who ran through the neighborhood, or we were all like having fun together. And then something happens, and maybe it's a part, I'm not a child development specialist, but maybe it's a part of, we are competing for mates, in the
It
sort of
is, it's
primal
primal.
sense.
It's
But
primal.
but at the end of the day, some of us push through that and find the power of really good girlfriends,
Yeah.
really powerful, real women who have our backs. And somehow the corporate world squashes that a bit because a lot of women emulate the controlling leader syndrome, which means push everyone down. I was always blessed with female bosses who raised me up, but
Yeah,
not everyone is,
I didn't
you
have
know?
I have this little circle of friends that my very first friends, and we don't see each other very often anymore, but, I mean, I like we my friend Diane, we were like babies when we met, and then,
Mm.
my friends Linda and Ellen, Karen, we were all Barbara, we were friends from, like, before kindergarten,
Wow.
and we all lived on the same block, and we played Barbies, we roller skated, we got in trouble, um, and,
Oh, love it.
we had charge accounts in all the little local stores, so we'd go get our grilled cheese and our candy and
Oh my god. I love these memories. One of the things I think we can do for ourselves at this time of life is not just when we were little girls or young women.
No, but we get together, we still get together, and, like, 2 of them, Linda and Ellen, have been best friends since, like, the 1st grade. Like,
Oh
their
my
kids
god.
grew up together, their husbands are friends, they go on vacations together, and I mean, they're inseparable, and, the one lives in Connecticut and the other one lives in New Jersey, so I'm in the middle, and sometimes, like, we
So
see each
you get
other.
to be in
But
on the love
but
fest?
this you'll appreciate this. When the movie Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret came out, we all went back to the neighborhood where we grew up, and we
Oh,
we went to go see that movie together.
oh. So, but you know what? You bring up a point which you have a gift in that continued contact with them and alignment. Um, but I think so many of us can feel more alone as we're older, especially if we're the kind of women that are like, "Hey, let's figure this out. Let's try this." We aren't slowing down. And in fact, you and I were talking earlier, sometimes we got to slow ourselves down because we're still going for it. I think a lot of it for me, and I'd be curious about you, and I don't see it in a lot of people. And I seek out the relationship with women who look at, not in a fatalistic way, but say, like, the end zone is closer. It
Yeah,
it could be any
absolutely.
day, but it's closer, so what the heck? And I use that quote from Mary Oliver, "What are you gonna do with your one wild and precious life?" It is wild, it should be wild, and it
And
should be
precious.
it should be considered precious because every day you get to choose who you're with, if you're lucky, um, and, I like, I think even despite the times that I've had the biggest life interruptions and financial maelstroms, just the simple knowledge that I'm alive, is so important to me. So I think it's really important that we consider the precious nature of the time we have on this planet, both to do what we really want to do or try to do the thing we always talked about doing and we never did. You know, one of my favorite women in 333. Well, I have many favorites, so I don't want to say, but Melissa Davy was one of our early members at 333, and she was one of these women who said, "I don't really like these women's, groups as much, but I love this because everyone that comes is going for it." She ditched a corporate job at 65, and now at 74, I believe, is out at her last film festival of the
Mhm,
season with her second film. So something in her was awoken from her 8-year-old self. She
mhm.
remembered that 8-year-old's dream after years of a passionate career, that was not in filmmaking, and now she's doing it. And, like, the whole idea of not wanting to rest and not wanting to step back if there's something inside of you waiting to be released, an unleashed dream, I like to say. It's like, you just gotta do it. You know, learn to
And
play the piano, you're not gonna be a prima ballerina, but learn salsa dancing. I mean, for God's sake, there's so many things that we do not allow ourselves to accept as a possibility for us. Um, and sometimes I can be perceived as a Pollyanna, and people think, "Oh, yeah, everything's great for you." It's not all great for me. I got, like, a boatload of challenges in my life, but I believe in the possibilities, and every person I meet, including you recently in this last 6 months, has really brought, more of that affirmation for me. So that's why I believe in the power of the collective of
I do
us.
too,
You know?
and I see possibility around people like little cartoon marks.
Have AI make a little visual of that. That'd be really cool.
But, there are so many possibilities, and there like, right now, we're living in a time that it's scary as hell. I mean, the world is just turned upside down, um, but I'm equally excited because there's things that I never expected to have in this lifetime, and ways that, like, I mean, I'm just gonna talk about AI. I mean, the things that we could do with AI in a really genuine way is, I think, for women our age, is a gift because this is gonna allow us to create these sustainable businesses that we can have for as long as we want them, and do things that we never imagined we'd be able to do, be able to afford to do, or have the bandwidth or the team behind us, that we can create things that are just miraculous, and with that, help so many other people,
Oh, yeah.
and
I'm definitely, cautious about the sort of bigger negative possibilities, but fully embracing AI
yeah,
in a lot
I'm the
of ways,
same way.
not
I
just for marketing.
No,
I have to
no.
tell you this story that just was so cool. I was talking to a dear friend who had an ankle injury, had an X-ray, couldn't get in to see an orthopedic, and the urgent care people were hopeless. She took a picture of her X-ray and put it into a couple of the AI tools and got a completely brilliant analysis of what she should be doing. And yes, there's a fracture and there's a blood clot. And when she saw the orthopedist, he said the exact same thing after a very expensive CAT scan. So
Yeah,
it's just like,
I have been having health challenges and dealing
mm,
with doctors that don't communicate with each other and,
oh, yeah.
only will work on one body part at a time and, like, refuse to admit that things are actually connected.
Like,
So, I went for my annual checkup and had all the blood work and all the tests and everything, and then I sat down with Perplexity, which is the greatest research tool in the world, and I uploaded all my test results and I asked my questions. And then I said, How can I get my doctors to work together? They're all within the same practice, but they don't communicate with each other.
And
It
there's
gave
no
me an
incentive
entire
for them.
script. It gave me an entire script to get the doctors to talk with each other, and it worked.
Oh my
It
god.
worked. And it told me it explained all of the things. It gave me questions because the doctor was just like, "Well, your tests are fine." I was like, "Yeah, they don't really feel fine." It feels like there's some things there that may need some addressing now while we're in the
Love
pre-stage,
that
you
you
know?
did that. I
And
love that you did that.
but it gave me the questions to ask, and when you ask the right questions, like whether it's AI or the doctor, when they realize, like, you're really tuned into your own health, they go to a different level of service.
Well, that's a whole
Yeah,
other black hole conversation, but let me just say this because, like a lot of things, like, when things are, emerging and, like, exploding technology, there are always gonna be people who live in the land of fear of them, you know, I remember I went to America Online before I didn't even have an internet account, and so it was in the early days, and I remember going like, "This thing is gonna change the world. I gotta, like, figure out how I can be a part of it," and because at that stage, I was like, "I really wanna help
mhm.
give people a platform to understand their health, opportunities for" like I said, teenage unmarried women need to know how to handle a child. I mean, that's the internet brought all of that, but now AI is exploding the level of access or the democratization of better information. I mean,
If
sure,
you
I've
know
found times
if
where there are errors, but like, hello, I'm sorry.
yeah,
You know,
but if you know how to use it, so this is one of the things that I get a little salty about, is that, I'm not a believer in these custom GPTs because people are building things on the back end, making assumptions for you, that,
mm,
maybe it's in your best interest, maybe it's not. And for the most part, they're not software engineers. They're not keeping up with the changes in technology. But if you just take a little time to understand the basic functionality of how these tools work and how you can get below that surface, just like I did with the doctors, right? You got to get below that surface of the general information and tap into what's underneath that. And it is incredible what you can pull together with what you have inside of you, with your knowledge and your wisdom and your experience,
yeah,
and tapping in to this endless source of data and information and bringing your discernment with it. I
yeah,
mean, I know when it's full of shit.
right,
I
right, right.
really I don't worry about it not telling the truth because I know when it's not telling the truth, and, like, I will start, like, when and it's so funny, I'll start when I, go if I'm working on something that I really want to go deep with, the first thing that I will type in the chat box is, "Do not blow smoke up my ass, tell me the truth."
No, I
And then
love it.
I'm listening to Bill Maher in an interview about AI, and he said, "I just wanted to stop blowing smoke up my ass."
You found your people. Well, so AI is an incredible tool actually, and you know this well because of your work with, founders and women who are building things. I mean, I used to laugh when I became an entrepreneur and I said, "Oh, I want a spreadsheet on that." And whereas I used to have a wonderful team to say, "Oh, Allison, could you work on the spreadsheet?" I
Um,
would like go, oh,
um,
there is no Allison."
Diana, could you make a spreadsheet on
Yeah,
that?
so it's Diana, like, "No, I can't." So AI is helping with that, but one of the other things that I love, and this is the flip of all of this conversation about the
Mhm.
amazing access to this we have, is I don't fear AI taking over everything, though it will take over project management tools and things like that. They do great project management. I don't have to
Excellent.
hire someone to do that.
Excellent.
But the human side, the creative side. Yeah, you can assimilate and create a haiku. I did this the other day. Somebody told me, take your LinkedIn bio, put it into your favorite AI tool, and ask for
Mhm.
a haiku. It is so fun. But I think that the creativity in us all is so essential to flex that muscle. So one of the things I love is to balance embracing technology so I have more time
Exactly,
to
exactly.
paint, I build mobiles. I do like things with my hands that allow me to see colors and things like. So I think we have to not be afraid of it. We have to use it the best we can so we
Yeah,
can afford ourselves creativity time.
absolutely.
Creating a new program. Like
Yeah,
this event I have in Santa Fe, I'm having more fun just envisioning what it will look like, feel like, on all the cool things we will do that aren't standard. I mean, that AI can't do for me,
no,
you
no,
know?
but
So
it
it
can help figure it out. Like, one
yeah.
of the things I'm in the process of, like, redesigning some of the content in my program, and I have a 156-page workbook in there,
Oh
and I
my
wanna break it down into smaller workbooks and make everything more, like, workshop-y than module-like, and I've been daunted by this task. So
sure.
I went into Perplexity, and I was like, I uploaded the workbook, and, it's been working with me on, how I'm redesigning things, and I was like, "And what could I do with this?" And it gave me step-by-step instructions on how to use Magi, which is a different AI tool, which will link in with my Google, and it will take that 156-page workbook and turn it into smaller, workbooks in my Google account. I haven't done it yet, so I don't know exactly if the steps are right.
So Perplexity is your choice.
So,
I
I
hate to
use
admit in a lot of ways, but I use Grok. I love Grok.
mhm. I use a couple. I use Perplexity is really good for research, and it will give you all of the resources that it pulls from, the sources that it pulls from, like, in line with where it's sharing it. And then I use Claude for writing, and I use this tool called Magi that has about, I don't know, it's probably about 40 different platforms in there, the paid version of 40 different platforms in there, and
Wow.
the other organizational things that are great, especially if you're working with a team. And then I use Google Notebook LM, which is a closed environment where you can repurpose content really well because you just have your stuff in there. You upload your own sources.
So, okay, so I wanna pretend like you're schooling me a little bit because I pick my lane and stick with it and am happy. So for anyone that may be listening to this or that you work with specifically, um, obviously you can just gauge what they need and make it simple. I have to admit, Zoom is a platform I use all the time. Within 333, all the recordings, and I just realized I had my cloud storage overage so significant that I was paying $350 a month for cloud storage versus 40, which is my plan. So I spent 3 hours last night, offloading, things like. But at the point I'm making is that too many platforms for me
All right.
are frightening. I mean, it's
I have a solution for you.
okay.
Go read my Friday Finds email from today,
Okay, I will.
and there's a solution for you in that email. It's called Note GPT. All
Oh,
you need
note.
Note GPT. You just upload it. What it does is it will take um, you can upload a video to it, or you can put like a YouTube link in there, and it'll give you a transcription, summary, a mind map, and you could share it with people with a link. And it's $10 a month.
Brilliant. Yeah, I just use the little note taker on Zoom, which I love, but, wow.
It gets
No,
expensive.
I
Zoom
can't
gets
wait to check it
expensive.
out. Can't wait to
Yeah.
check it
Yeah, I
out.
don't use a lot of tools. I use it just a handful because it can get really out of control.
Well,
But,
it's sort of like you just have to know what you're doing, I guess.
and here's the other thing that I do too, and then I don't wanna make this all about AI because I could talk about AI all day long. But, when I use AI, I don't approach it with the perspective of productivity or saving time because it's a given. You're just gonna save time. I go with the perspective is what could this make me do better?
Beautiful.
Because, that's what I wanna do. I wanna be able to do more better.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
So let's be done with AI at the moment.
It's fascinating. I think
It is fascinating.
everyone is
It
to
is
some
fascinating.
degree of fascinated with
Yeah,
it.
and I get the biggest kick out of teaching women in their 60s and 70s and even 80s how to use this tool, and, I've got one client that tells me that she walks into a room of, 30 and 40-year-old marketing bros and blows their socks off because she knows things they don't know.
Well, I wanted to say one of the things that I discovered, and I don't know if I found the best tool, so you'll help me. But so I'm working on this pilot for a film I'm calling Aha. I mean, really early pilot. And it's basically coinciding with this Aha storytelling venture that will take the stage in Santa Fe during the Quest event for the first time. But I will be inviting women to share their aha stories, and I will be featuring them on YouTube probably at this point. But the film is my childhood dream to do something. I've literally had visions in my head all these years. But one of the things that I discovered, because a lot of films that have B-roll in them, are hard to get the B-roll, and, I don't want talking head films, I want beautiful images. The tools that I'm seeing more and more now that they could take a picture of my grandmother and turn it into a beautiful little video of her doing this, which is going to really be helpful for me with my film, because a lot of it will be people reflecting back
Mhm.
a moment in the past, and we can't necessarily go back and shoot it. So that's really exciting to me. I just want to throw that out as something that I've started to play with as well.
Well, one of the things that we were talking about before we went live was, you reaching out to a local marketing school,
Yep.
like marketing department of a school, a university where the event's going to be, and that could be a really good project for them to bite their teeth into. And you have enough time now because the event's not till April, where
Right.
you can kind of get on the roster for the professors next semester.
Man, you are always sparking me with a new cool idea. That's really cool. I'm doing it.
Yeah, and there's also this organization called Her Campus. Um,
Never
it
heard.
was it was a group of women that, were from Boston. They knew each other in college, I think, or I don't know, something. They were young, but they ended up all dropping out of college and creating this thing called Her Campus. Um, and what it is, it's a media platform for women in universities. And, you could have your own chapter in different universities. I think they're in, hundreds of universities now, and, but that they might be able to, have some volunteers to help you too.
That's fantastic. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, there's help out there.
Yeah.
And but let's talk about these communities that we build.
Okay. I'd love to.
Like, what happened when you started doing this?
You mean when I decided that I must start the 333 on top of the things I was working with Third Act Quest? Yeah, okay. So Third Act Quest was born out of what you shared before, out of just a complete clean slate and a wondering like, okay, what am I here to do? And I
Yeah,
just knew. I just knew.
clearly wasn't everything else I thought I was here to do.
Well, I just knew. It was like I always pay attention. That's why I'm fixated with aha, moments of clarity.
Mhm.
They come from disruption, they come from magical synchronicity, or I like to say they come from this something that's been bubbling up and maybe starting to whisper at you and then eventually screams at you. And those are all the ahas. But so I'm sitting there, and COVID came just after I launched Third Act Quest. So the in-person retreat things I was doing was so that's when I launched the Third Act Storytime. I first started talking circles around COVID, and then I found that women were really wanting to talk to each other, not like, but what mask are you using, but like, how are you staying sane? How are you managing this? How are you managing that? And then I started the Third Act Storytelling Zooms. I did for 3 years. Unbelievably cool. It gave me permission, like you're doing now, to reach out to women and say, I want to put you out there. You're doing cool stuff. So that was really cool. And then I just noticed with the group, like this one group, there are like 25 women, and I had a group, chat with them, and they were all staying in touch after. They're like, oh my God, that was so cool. And like, I love what you're doing. And I said, we're craving this. We're craving women that can line up with us, not just if we are trying to promote our business, but in this life journey, can line up with us and be our loudest cheerleaders. Tell us when we think we're off track, or pick us up if we fall, or all of that. And we were talking about friendships, and sometimes our longtime friends are there, but not wanting to talk about the kind of things we want to talk about. So
Well,
I just said,
many of them live different lives, like my friends. I have tons and tons of friends, but I don't have any friends that live near me.
well, that's a real thing too. It's because you're seeking like-minded, and you're finding like-minded, and it's not always in your neighborhood, which
No.
is a shame, but it's okay. We have technology, and we have what we're doing here is a way to connect. But so anyway, I sensed a craving, like a real craving. And so I said, I'm going to start an online community. I had built or had spent like a year building a previous community before I discovered the Mighty Networks, which I can't speak more highly about. But lo and behold, a woman said, use Mighty. And I did, and I love it. So I'm walking along, and I said, okay, I'm going to launch a community. I said, but I don't want it to be a community, because a community is good, but it's people unifying around a common goal or vision. I want a collective where women can come together if they're like-minded, but shine their own lights out in their own ways. They can be a poet, they can be an engineer, they can be retired, anything. It can be anything, but they have that common thread to want to like align with each other. And I literally was walking, and I said, what the heck am I going to name it? And I said, it had like Third Act Quest. It can't be the Third Act Quest Collective. I mean, that's too long. I said, it has to have a 3 in it. I said, how about 3 threes? And then I looked up the spiritual number behind 3. And it basically, the version I found that aligned best with me is that if you see the number 333, it means that change is ahead and you're on the right path. So I'm like, that's it. And so it was born literally as a result, like many of us, as a result of all the other experiences I was having and perceiving the needs, not only my own needs, but the needs in the women that I was interacting with. And I will tell you, I have been slow to promote it. I am now ready to be more public with it. I didn't want to mess with the alchemy of it. I didn't want it to become something that was all about women like shoving their business cards at each other. I wanted to be a place where people are coming in going, you're cool. I like what you're doing. That's a nice idea. I don't want them coming in trying to sell each other. I know you align with this, but so I also like this thing. I thrive on connecting people. I thrive on it. So why wouldn't I do it? So that's the whole long story about how it happened.
And I'm very much in the same boat. Like when this thing started, it was It wasn't a plan, it wasn't an idea, it just came to me because I got pissed off at Mika Brzezinski pushing out the Forbes 30 over 50 conference, and I'm like, "It's like a gala event, and there's all these people there that are always the same people, and, like, the people that don't need the visibility, they don't need any of this, they're in jobs or they're from wealthy families, and they're set, they don't need what we need to kinda keep our missions growing and going and support ourselves and build what's not only our dream but something that's going to help other people. And I just started to think of all the people I already know that are doing amazing things and nobody knows about them. So I made my
Like, you and I are
yeah,
sisters. I I remember writing an email that probably never even got read to them saying, "What?" Because it was the 40 over 40. I said, "Come on, look at the
yeah.
demographics. How about the 50 over 50?" And then when it launched, I went, "Of course."
Well, do you know what the criteria is
What?
to be
3,000,000,000
nominated?
in revenue or something?
10 million in revenues if you're and not just I mean, like, in like, that's what's left after you pay taxes. In if you're a startup or, like a small business, 10 million.
And that's
That's
okay. That's what Forbes is all
oh,
about.
yeah,
That's
but
why we need you.
yes, yes, but when I did like, I made my list of 50 women that I personally know. That took me 15 minutes. Then I did keyword
Love it.
research, and everything was about hair and makeup and not what to do when you're falling apart and life is just gonna suck. And then I bought the domain, The Real 50 Over 50 for a dollar, which I wasn't even looking for that. I just was searching for, like, over 50 domains, and I was like, "The Real 50 Over 50 is a dollar, and I could buy it in every single extension?" Like, that's a problem.
That is so,
There are
like,
no real
so
50
humor.
women that are over 50 that are actually real women. That's a problem. So so then I went back to my keywords and I started to think like, "Wow, who else is using the same tools I'm using?" Governments, hospitals and medical organizations, educational organizations, foundations, you know, all of the companies that make decisions, the
Mm,
governments that make decisions on our behalf, they're all off the mark. They have no clue what we want and what we need. So then I went back to my women and I just started reaching out and I was like, if I just started interviewing you, would you want to be interviewed? And I had 40 interviews booked in 2 weeks. And other than a handful of the now 157 women that are part of this, um, I know everybody personally. Well, they were introduced to me. And you were introduced to me by 3 people in 1 day.
oh, I love it. Of
But
course it was
I
a 3.
but I had been following you because when you did your event in Rhode Island last year,
Wow.
it was my birthday weekend,
Oh, I wish you had been there.
and Rhode Island is my special place.
Yeah, me too.
And I couldn't go because I had just had an ablation and I couldn't
Mm.
travel, but I was watching every day because I
Oh
was
my
like, "If I feel better, I'm just gonna go." I said, "Even if I don't have a ticket, I'm gonna go and she's gonna let me in."
Of course. Of course. And you could have just pushed through the plastic on the tent anyway. Well, let me just say something. That
Mm,
is such a beautiful it is meant to be journey that you're on. And it's so heart driven, and that's what I love. It's like heart driven. It's like it's not like, "Oh, maybe I can get a lot of clients." It is heart driven, and that's the magic. I have to just, say that you've come into 333 and you've been meeting, and I know you've been talking to a number of our members. You just spoke, I guess, with Joy Fox. Oh my God, she's a
yeah,
force. Oh,
I
turning 90 next week.
yeah,
She's going on her own.
91, she's turning
Excellent.
91.
Oh, then
91.
I have to say the other thing that's exciting to me is that the number of women that come in that are all creating platforms to shine lights on women over 50, to support women over 50. You've probably met Jack Perez of Cool
Yeah,
Life.
yeah,
I don't know if you've met, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, Susan Dabar or Dabar
uh,
of
not yet, but I want
Vogue
to.
magazine.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. they're amazing women that are coming out in a way to do their thing and use their talents to make a difference and to support each other.
Yeah, and Christina, who's got
Oh,
her
yeah,
event coming
Christina
up next month,
Vidovich. Oh,
and
love her.
Maria. I spoke with Maria.
Oh, good. She's probably the most engaged, what is it? Multivalent? What's the word? I mean, she's an attorney. She's an author. She's a coach. She's a podcaster. She puts out a podcast a week, but she is the first one that when you write something like, "I'm so excited about my new blah blah blah," she's the first one
Mhm.
to cheer you on. So, anyway, that's what's happening now, and that's
Yeah.
why for me, 333 needs to expand. I just have to keep that same positive energy, which is, why I've been cautious, but I said, stop holding it back. Let it go. Let it
I
open.
have been too. I have been too. I was like, every time I think about doing something, I'm like, "Is it gonna turn into a PDF pitch fest?" And then I'll just shut the whole thing down and, like,
Yes.
just not gonna
Yes.
deal with that.
Well, I think we're all learning what we really want.
Yeah.
Like, I love to be able to look beyond what my titles have been, what my roles have been and are. I like to just look and to really, that's what we'll be doing a lot in the beginning of Quest is to really coming back to embrace who we really are as people. A woman came to one of my retreats recently, and I asked her to lead an exercise. Her name, I won't, as her name is Lori Crawford. I'll say it. You need to meet her too. She had us all write a story of who we are, or a bio of who we are, without titles, without roles, without experiences. What are our values? What do we believe? What do we know? And then we all went around the room, and every single woman that read it, I said, replace your LinkedIn bio with that, or replace it on your website. It is so true. It is so you. I don't care that you've published 60 books.
Mm,
I want to know who you are if I want to work with you, kind of thing. So,
yeah,
anyway, I love that whole freedom that we are embracing to be who we are unapologetically. Thank you, Brene Brown, for letting us know about the power of vulnerability, right?
yeah,
It's like, I can tell you I've messed up so many things in my life, and I don't think it's going to make people not want to ever work with me or know it. They just think
yeah.
I'm honest,
Well, we were raised in a different time where we had to compete with men for the
Yeah.
jobs and how many times did you kinda step back in a meeting and let somebody else take the idea?
What are those words that somebody wrote this piece, maybe it was you, that if you say this, you've given your power away. Like, this may not be a good idea, but, or like, those are such female words. I mean, I saw them.
Y
Um,
years ago, I went to an event, and there was a woman there that created an app, and what the app did was it attached to your email, and it took out every time you wrote the words "just" or "but" or "only." That's all it did.
wow. Just button only. That's a bumper sticker.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. That
right?
is brilliant.
It
But
didn't last, but I do that now. I do that. I have my Grammarly set to pull those words out.
wow. Or I wanted to. I use
Yeah,
that a lot. I wanted to reach out. Like,
yeah,
I am reaching out,
yeah.
not I wanted to. It is fascinating. The thing that's interesting for me, and I have to say, when I got my first job in an ad agency,
Mhm.
my later boss, not the one that hired me, I was like 22. It was my dream agency in Boston, Hill Holiday. I'm like, I want to work there. I got an interview to be a secretary. I don't care how I graduated from college or not. That was my I'm walking down the hall. She told me years later, she goes, "Oh, we saw you walking down the hall. We knew you were hired." I was like, "God damn it." Here, sorry about that.
Mm.
Um, are you still hearing me correctly? Have I just
Yeah, you
frozen?
froze a little bit.
Okay. But
Okay.
anyway, so the moral of the story is that I was very afraid of being only hired or invited into the room because I was a blonde hair cutie. And people literally said, "Oh, you're so cute." I was like,
Yeah,
"Shut up. I'm so smart." But what my biggest claim to fame in life was my bosses were either gay or women. So I know that it was me they wanted,
mm,
not some other version of what people perceived in the '80s and still as wanting you on my team
yeah,
is so it made me very proud that I was chosen as me, not some blonde
yeah,
cutie, as they would call me. I'm like, "Ah."
yeah. I mean, like I was talking about this with somebody recently that, the sexual abuse in that time was just a given. Nobody
Uh,
cared. Nobody cared. And there was different levels of it, but, if it's always happening, even if it's, low grade, it's a lot.
well, I was tempted to, gather the stories of women in our era to, like, tell these
The Me
stories that
Too's.
we thought were normal,
Yeah,
and
it
I
you
said,
you
"That's
will.
bad energy," but,
Yeah.
like, we all have them.
Yeah.
Ugh, I had to pick up a man off my 22-year-old friend at a company picnic and say, "Get off of her." He ended up being this it was my first week of work. He ended up he was the COO of the company. I didn't even think of going to HR.
No.
Like, ooh, that's just he's a bad boy.
Yeah.
It's like I look at my daughter who's 24, and I know that that won't happen, but there's still like her boss was basically in a very serious relationship with a woman on her team who kept getting promoted.
Mhm.
I was like, "Emma, it's not gone away yet, but just be you. Don't get too mad, just be you."
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
when I was raising my son, who's 23, he's known there's 2 non-negotiables. He has to vote in every election, even the smallest of elections.
I
He has
love
to vote in every election, and he cannot disrespect women because I will find him, and I will know, and I will torture him.
Well, I'm a believer in, all people. I believe there's good
Yeah,
in all ages, so it's not just that I'm picking the youngest generations now, but I believe based on the young people I'm meeting, through my daughter and otherwise, not that, "Oh, wow, let's share wisdom with them." Like, yeah, that's fine. I believe they have so much that bringing to this world. They have a different, like, old soul kind of quality to them in my mind, and you know, I look at their hearts, their, capacity to seek balance rather than be workaholics like we were and maybe still are. They seek balance, and they are finding ways to make a difference and have fun at the same time.
yeah,
So I look really am blown away by
yeah.
younger people.
Yeah, they would not put
It
up with
teaches us
what
a
we put up.
lot.
Yeah, they would they like, I'm, in the same boat. I'm, like, around a lot of younger people, and, like, they're not putting up with what we put up with.
But they're also making my daughter went in and asked for a raise and a promotion and got it. I would never have done it. I
Yeah.
even
Oh,
remember
I
saying,
did, I did,
"Oh,
I did,
oh,
I
I
did
did."
that.
I
I
was
did that because
yeah.
I knew what I was doing was way more valuable, and, I started my career as a secretary also, and I was like the right-hand person to the head of the M&A department at one of the biggest law firms in the world for 10 years. And he saw my value instantly. And like he would come to my house with his wife and his kids
Mm.
after a deal closed, and he'd hand me a envelope full of cash and say, we I couldn't do this without you. And he would tell me, he'd say, you just tell me what I need to do because I want to make sure that you are compensated to the most you could be compensated for in this job. And I figured it out. I went to HR and I was like, what do I need to do? What do I need to tell Peter to do?
Yeah, see, I applaud that.
But it
I
was rare.
definitely
It
applaud
it
that.
was it was very rare. And when he was transferred out to California because the California offices just kind of like all left in a weekend. And he went to a managers and directors meeting and he said, I'm making a personal sacrifice for the firm. Somebody take Donna and give her a job. You're not going to regret it. And the CFO stood up and she gave me a job. And we went to lunch and we had a 3-hour lunch. And after the lunch, she hugged me and she said,
Aw.
I feel like I just won the lottery. And she said, the first thing I need to do is send you out of town because we cannot have you walking into the finance department with a job that didn't exist. So she sent me to like travel to different offices for like a month. And then during that time, we kind of like we built a job based on my strengths.
See,
And
like, that's what we pray for all of our young people, or it doesn't have to be young women, but young men. We
yeah,
pray that they find people that are I told my daughter, "Seek out not just companies or
yeah,
organizations you wanna work at, but people that can champion you
yes.
who" the guy that ran oh my god, Jack Connors was the most amazing leader of Hill Holiday, and he said to me the biggest compliment, he goes, "Well, when I was the Diana Dunbar of BBDO," I was like, "Oh." He I mean, that meant the world to me, but he also honored me with raises.
Mhm.
He also said to the whole agency, "I am successful because I am smart enough to hire people a lot smarter than me."
Yeah.
Like, how many leaders say that these days?
No,
It's just like,
not many, and in law firms, that doesn't happen, you
"Oh
know?
god. Oh my
So,
lord."
like, I was really lucky to work with him, and it turned into a job that ended up being what helped me create my business because I was out there solving problems, like, in this
I love
150-year-old law firm that has offices all over the world. I mean, basically, my job became end user perspective on the financial and the marketing applications, and nobody had done that before. They would spend
love it.
billions of dollars on things that took years to build and not ask the people that
Yeah.
used them. So, I got to travel all over the world. I got to build out all of these systems and training programs and work with different levels of people in the organization and externally with vendors. And then I got to build their virtual training environment because I had a child and I didn't want to travel anymore. So I went into an
Well,
executive group
you've been
meeting.
gifted. You've been gifted with a very, very rare set of mentor/bosses/ slash possibility. Like like, that is so amazing. I love that. I love that story. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, and
And
then when I
it's
started
propelled
my
you in the way you are propelling yourself still.
but when I started my business, I didn't realize I had all these skills. So I just started my
Doesn't
business.
everybody?
I started my business as a VA, and then, like, I needed to learn PR, so I was like, I already knew how to do PR because 'cause I've been doing it since 1995, but I didn't realize it, and, I got to the point where I started to really take, inventory of what I knew how to do, and it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a
I'm
lot.
just so happy I've met you. I'm so
Mhm.
happy you've jumped into 333. I'm praying that you'll be able to join us in
I'm
April in San
working on it.
Jose. I want you on. We have a panel, not really a panel, it's a group of women that I want to share stories, their ahas around how they can make a difference
Mhm.
in support women and make an impact in their third act. And that, I mean, that you would be the poster child for that. So I
Oh,
would love to see you there for that.
yeah, I'm working on it. I
Good.
am working on it, and,
And if not virtually, I'm going to record. There are a number of women that are unable to be there that want to share, and I'm going to record their aha stories to do that.
okay, good, good. So we've gone for an hour already.
Wow. I was wondering how long we were on. I'm like, "Oh my god, we hit the."
Well, these interviews are usually a half an hour, but I figured this would be an hour once we got
Oh
started.
my god, I'm sorry. I could,
No.
like, you and I have had the
Yeah,
history. We could go on for, like, 3 hours if we, you know?
Anyway, please connect with Diana,
Mm.
thirdactquest.com, join her community, connect with the women in there, um, um, check out her event and the other things that she's doing. She's really magical, and I'm
Oh,
so happy that
dear.
we've connected
Me too.
and we're in each other's worlds, and we're just getting started.
Yeah.
We are
Have a
just getting
beautiful day, my dear. I can't
Yeah.
wait to connect next time.
Yes, everybody enjoy your Friday and your weekend, and please
Amen.
share this with anybody that needs to hear it, needs to see it, and again, connect with Diana and come back every Wednesday. We've got interviews booked into 2026 already.
Wow.
The last 2025 interview went this morning.
Oh, man. You're a force. You are
Woo!
a
We're
force.
we're doing it, we're doing it. So anyway, tons and tons and tons of interviews, and I've got a couple of other things up my sleeve that are trying to come out from under there, but they've been hijacked. Anyway, lots more to come, lots more women over 50 doing incredible things, both from Diana and from my world and several other worlds too. And we will see you all soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.